Hey, Rainey. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well too. Doing good. Hi, Shannon. Welcome. Hey, folks in the Gampa. And hello if anyone's on YouTube watching. We're going to be getting started in just a couple minutes. Hey, Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
Hey, everyone online. We're playing with the lights in here. Oh. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Linda, and welcome to Discovering Buddhism. This is module 2 of a brand new cycle, so that's very exciting. And this one is called How to Meditate. It's going to be for the next 4 weeks. And Steve Smith is our instructor for this module, and I think you'll find that she's an amazing instructor. Oh, it says I'm muted. Can y'all hear me online? Okay. Shannon, can you hear me?
They can hear you, though.
Yeah. So, Rainey, you can hear me?
Oh, yeah, I hear you well. We generally see the little mute symbol on you for some reason or another, but
Okay.
I hear.
But I wonder, Shannon, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, Shannon. Okay, great. Okay, good.
Can everybody in here hear?
All right.
Just give a thumbs up if you can hear us. Wow, that's
Awesome.
amazing.
Okay. Sorry about that little tangent.
No.
And so Steve will be teaching this module. And all of our Discovering Buddhism modules are taught by 4 lay teachers, but all 4 of them are FPMT certified. FPMT is the larger umbrella that we fall under. It stands for the Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana Tradition. So you see why we call it FPMT. And so they'll rotate through. You'll meet not only Steve, but also Don Brown, who is the founder of Kadampa Center, as well as Robbie Watkins, who is the director of Kadampa Center, and Hemant Pandya, who has been a student here for a long time. So they're all wonderful teachers. Hope that you enjoy them as much as I do. I've been through this course, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times. You would think I would get it by now, right? So again, this one runs for 4 weeks. So we start tonight and go through that first week of March.
Where they can get readings if they're interested.
Oh, that's right. Yes, thank you. In the past, if you've taken this course, we have posted online on our website course materials, but the exact same course materials can more easily be found, I think, on the FPMT online learning site. So all you have to do is create an account. So if you go to fpmt.org and then under study, you'll see Discovering Buddhism, and that will take you to the online website to create an account. And there you'll find all the readings, all the materials for the entire Discovering Buddhism course. Okay. So, without further ado, I think I'll turn it over to Steve.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. First-timers, people who've been going around on the Discovering Buddhism modules. They all build on each other. They're all meant to include each other. And this is the second module in that whole series. And so the first series was Mind and Its Potential. So how many of you did that module? Okay, great. So why do you think it started with that one? Why do you think the whole thing of Discovering Buddhism started with Mind and Its Potential? Any thoughts? Anybody typing into chat?
And if you are in the Kadampa, I'll bring you a microphone, or somebody will.
Yeah, I like to get other people talking because it's pretty uncomfortable sitting up here doing all the talking. Well, you can just go ahead and answer it.
Okay. One way that I thought from something that I read was I think it was Lama Yeshe felt like that was a good place to start for Westerners. Mm-hmm. That was one reason, but then another reason you can look at it is it's the mind is the source of suffering and happiness, and so it's really key to understand it as how it works.
Right.
You know, and so it's a good place to start.
Right, well said. Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it's a way to look at it that I don't think is really taught in other places, to look at the mind as having different aspects to it, different parts, and just like anything else, that's how you can understand, is kind of break it down.
Right. In fact, a lot of times Buddhism is called mind training, and the other part of that title is mind at its potential. So, we can get very excited about what the potential of our consciousness is. And the potential is just so enormous. In Buddhism, we talk about Buddha nature, that we all have this potential. All sentient beings have this potential. And so that's the starting place to really set our motivation to liberation. It's understanding that potential of our mind and then working with our mind, because that's what this is. It's really working with our mind and understanding, well, what is the mind and how is it different than just the intellect? And so then the second part that we're engaged in tonight is really working with the mind and understanding what meditation is and how it can help the mind. So we'll kind of keep going back and forth with those things and looking at all the components of the mind, because we're made up of aggregates of body and mind, right? They're linked. And the mind, for those of you, just a quick review, the mind, what are the qualities of the mind? It knows and it experiences. So it's a knower and an experiencer. And it's more than just, again, in the West, we often think of the mind as the intellect, and it's very, somebody's in their thoughts, but it's way more than just our thoughts from this perspective. It includes our senses, the things that we sense through our body to our mind. It's our thoughts, it's our memories, our emotions. Again, we often think of our emotions as very different from our mind. But in this definition, they're of the mind, they're of the mind. Our perceptions, and as well as our intellect. It's also our mind. I love this image, is like a river. So it's unceasing. Even when you're sleeping and you might not remember your dreams, your mind is still functioning and experiencing those things. And even though you can't remember your first year on this planet, your mind was experiencing those things and did have an effect on who you are today. So all of those things is just this unceasing river, which I really like that idea. That I can't remember which philosopher said, you can't put your foot in the same river twice. So that gets into a whole larger concept, but the person you are when you walked in is going to be different than the person you are when you walked out, at least in terms of that river, that it's always flowing, it's not standing still. And so then, what is the true nature of mind? Anything that you remember from, I'm sure they covered this before, in mind, and what's that? Clear light? Yeah. An image that's often used is, sky-like. That the clouds are not the sky. They might be in the sky, they might be interfering with the sky, just like our thoughts and our issues and our problems and our worries might be interfering with the true nature of this clear light of our mind, of our sky-like nature of our mind. And so that's where meditation comes into play to help us uncover the nature of our mind and to tap into it. And so I'm going to write something up here on the board, because as you may have heard, yikes, the Tibetan word for meditation is gom. And what gom means is to familiarize yourself. So we have certain ideas of what meditation is, but I like this definition. To familiarize yourself. Now, there's certain things that we're going to work on familiarizing ourselves with, but if you just go back through the course of today alone, you can probably think of lots of times you were meditating or familiarizing yourself with things that might not have been all that beneficial. I'll just speak for me. I spent a whole lot of time today meditating on news, let's just put it that way. The news was my meditation, not necessarily positive because it was freaking me out. So, but that's a meditation. What are we putting our minds on? You know, like when somebody that you really know and care for disappoints you, or something's going on and you start going through, yeah, last year they said this thing, you know? And you know what? I should never have trusted them because 2 years ago they did this thing and this other person told me that they did that, right? That's a meditation. It's not always a bad meditation, but it can be because it just kind of reinforces something. And we don't spend nearly as much time meditating on other things. We spend a whole lot of time, there's a lot of energy and a lot of encouragement to kind of lean this way. And so, I mean, does that sound familiar to you all? And so that's a familiarization meditation. So we are meditating all the time, all the time. It's just that in this course, and what we're going to be looking at is how can we meditate on and build other mind states. So what kind of mind states? Well, first of all, what are your goals for coming to this class? I'll write some of them down just so we can all see. And I guess at home they can see. And can you check chat? So people online, you can throw into your chat will probably be easier than for people here. Things that you're just hoping to get from this class, for this experience.
And again, if you're in the Gampa, just wait for the microphone, just so that the folks on Zoom and YouTube can hear.
Or I'll
we
repeat
run-
it, you know.
If it's something really
Yeah.
short, Steve can
It'll
repeat
probably
it.
be short.
I was interested in coming because I was just looking for a way to like be more like mindful, like be like aware of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay. Mindfulness, awareness, self-awareness, awareness of thoughts.
Accountability.
Accountability.
I already kind of meditate, but this is just a nice centering, and like it's Monday night, starting the week right, you know, am I going to meditate this week?
Okay,
This is a
okay.
nice reminder to do that.
Okay, so yeah, reminder, and kind of like going to the gym, right? Building that muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, muscle building for meditation. Yeah, I mean, it creates, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to create new habits. You know, we come into this life with a lot of other habits from other lives, and then what we're trying to do here, were you going to say that? Oh, okay, well, I'm going to write to like, you know, positive habit forming. We're trying to increase other habits, mind training. Anything else? Anything online? Oh, guys, it's so easy, just in the chat, you know, just, nobody even knows who you are.
Oh, here we have something. Thank you, John. To improve my state of mind, calmness, and clarity so that I can be a better father, husband, and human.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So I have to get a different pen. Can you read that again to me?
To improve my state of mind, calmness, and clarity.
So many obstacles. Can you open the?
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I have to ask my daughter to open.
Well, I just had too many things in my hand. Thank you.
Oh, I was blaming it on age. No, just kidding.
Yeah, thanks. Calmness.
Okay. To improve my state of mind, calmness, and clarity.
Okay.
So that I can be a better father, husband, and human.
Okay. I'm going to add that part to something we're going to talk about in a minute. Anything else you want to add to this? Okay. So these are all fantastic. And mindfulness, awareness, yeah. And I'm going to add a few, because whatever we're coming, even if it's like, well, I'd just like to get some more information. You know, I'd like to be a calmer person. I'd like to be less stressful. The world right now is very stressful. That's just a fact. So I'd like to have less stress in my life. These are all, you know, spot on. To have healthier, happier mind states. And the point of meditation is then to familiarize ourselves with these more positive mind states so that they arise more naturally and spontaneously. In Buddhism, it's also, it's even larger than that, because it goes beyond reducing our stress. You know, first of all, we have to reduce our stress to get to these other things. So, you know, increasing our self-awareness and reducing our stress, because stress interferes with our mind. It's all those clouds we were talking about. But the ultimate goal is even bigger, because in Buddhism, it teaches in depth about how to eliminate negativities from this huge other perspective that you'll be following through this whole course. And the first point is to settle the mind so that you can even do that. And throughout all of the teachings in Buddhism, you're using meditation on all the different topics that we'll be talking about. But I wanted to stress that I was reading this teacher's discussion about when she was about to give a class, she'd asked people what did they want to accomplish, and this one person said, well, I'd really like to have these, you know, he was describing kind of these wild experiences of traveling to other realms and just kind of escaping the samsara, and in meditation, traveling to these other realms and just having all these experiences. And she was saying, well, you know, I guess that's possible, but you'll still be coming back here. And so the point is not to escape, but the point is that when you're here, to have a different mind and awareness and experience than a stressful and troubled one. So that it's not about escaping. And I say I have definitely been guilty of that, of wanting to just escape and using practice in that way. Then I kind of realized, well, that's not really the point of it. The point is, you know, because I'm going to be functioning in my job and all around the day, not in just a meditative escaped mind point of view. I'm going to be encountering people. I'm going to be working with people. I'm going to be engaged. So the point is to access different states of mind so that I can be in the world differently. That may be obvious to people, but I just wanted to say that. Okay, so there's two kinds of meditations, generally speaking. Almost every kind of meditation that you can think of that you hear from all these different traditions will fall into these two different categories. And one is a focused meditation. And counting your breath or visualizing an object and bringing your mind back to that over and over and again. Because our mind is very restless, and we don't have much in our culture that helps us train our mind. So it's like a toddler, and we just follow it and we believe it. So it's just running all over the place, and we're running and chasing it. And we're easily distracted more and more and more. So focused meditation builds that muscle for us to just keep our mind on one thing. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and how to do that and the resistance to it. But that doesn't end there. That's like building a muscle. And then the other type of meditation is analytical meditation, particularly in this tradition. So it's then applying that muscle and that focus to a topic, and having insights and more of almost a full body awareness of that topic that you are meditating on, so that then when you leave the cushion, you're developing these insights and realizations about that topic that you will carry into your life. And meditation then is developing that habit and that deeper understanding of that topic. And then when I've found, when I don't meditate on that, it just kind of starts to fade because there's so much other stuff coming in. So that's where a practice really is important. Any questions about those two different kinds? So then even when we're, doing a visualization, then that would be more of an analytical, you're bringing all of your focus onto what you're visualizing. And without that ability to focus, it's going to be much, much weaker. So there's 4 components to a meditation. And one is your posture, your body, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The next one is your motivation. So in Buddhism, everything, and not just in Buddhism, but everywhere, your motivation to do something really affects the action. So this is also why, negatively and positively, even an attorney is going to tell you that. If you're unfortunate enough to be facing some charge, it's going to be, what was your intention, what was the motive behind your action, is going to determine the punishment. But then hopefully the converse is true. So the motivation that you have for anything that you're doing, you know this, when you go to work on a Monday and you really don't feel like being there, it affects pretty much everything. But if you're excited about something or you have some reason to do it, it changes everything. It changes your experience of time. It changes how people relate to you, what they experience, what you experience. And so a lot of time is spent then on deepening your motivation, examining your motivation, and trying to expand it and increase more than just maybe the initial motivation. So for example, in meditation, a motivation, very good motivation, is to reduce your stress. Then to expand that would be to understand and meditate on how will that affect you if you can reduce your stress? And then how will it affect it on a very mundane level, very daily level? If you can go back through your day, say a day where you had, you weren't too happy with how you acted, and you had less stress, what would it have been like? I might not have lost my temper at somebody. I might have driven more calmly. I might have had better thoughts about people. And so you start to see that if I can accomplish that goal that I have, how it's going to ripple out and affect the people right around me. And who knows how it's going to affect then even the people beyond that I don't know. Yeah. So in trying to increase our motivation, and that's just a simple way, but we'll talk about other ways to increase their motivation. And so then there's the actual meditation, the actual activity of the meditation. And then when that's concluded, the dedication. So the motivation and the dedication are kind of the bookends, which can also be the bookends of your day. Starting off your day with like, this is how I want to be today. This is my motivation for my actions today. And then in the evening, kind of examining it, dedicating anything positive. And we'll talk about that as well, because every action, there's cause and effect. So that's the kind of thinking behind this as well, is that your actions have an effect. And how would you, if we're talking just about pure energy, then how would you like for that to result? So resulting in accomplishing your goal, for example, that made the effort it took for me to get to class today and to do this and to pay attention and to think about this and to meditate, made this result in my accomplishing my goal. And then if I've been able to expand my goal to include other people, may it also affect them. So we're now dedicating all the energy that we put in a very practical way, and then we can also include even greater ways. So how does that sound? Sound good? Any questions? Okay. So why don't we try one? I'm going to go over the body posture for a minute, but one of them is how you would hold your head. And I want you, before I get there, I want you to put your hand on the back of your neck and just, have your head in the normal position, and then tuck your chin just a little bit. And do you see how your spine there straightens? It kind of elongates, whether you're looking up or looking straight ahead, there's a little bend in it. But when you tuck your chin, your spine, which your head is sitting upon, lengthens or straightens. And that's the whole point of that part of the posture, because a good meditation really is about having a straight spine, having the vertebrae trying to stack on top of each other so that it's balanced like coins and you don't have to like sit too rigid. You can use pillows. If you're sitting in a chair, the most important thing is that your feet are flat on the floor. If you're sitting in a cushion, then, I like to sit on the very edge because that, again, helps my posture. I don't have to like hold myself up. Sometimes sitting on a chair, I also use a little cushion to have my knees lower than my butt, and which helps my spine stay straight. So feet are flat on the floor or in the cushion with what we just talked about. And then your hands, the mudra, or the hand posture for meditation, you can have your hands on your knees if you'd like, because the point is to have your arms out a little bit so you can relax your shoulders and have deep breathing. The other position is your left hand lightly below your navel, your right hand on top, forming like a circle, and your thumbs just gently touching, like you're holding a piece of paper between them. But either way is fine, and your arms, your elbows out away from your body so you're not collapsed. Okay, and then double checking your spine, making sure it's as aligned as possible so all that energy can flow. Tuck your chin just a little bit. And now make sure your jaw isn't clenched. You can slightly open your mouth if you would like. Your tongue is at the back of your teeth, up. And this is said to prevent drooling, but let's hope you don't fall asleep. But it also keeps your jaw relaxed. And then your eyes can be completely closed, but if you think that'll make you sleepy, then keep them a little bit open. So that is the posture. And then I want you to think about your motivation for this particular meditation, but even for being here in class today. So you can refresh your motivation, think about what it is that you're hoping to accomplish, all the things that you said, maybe something else that somebody else said, and how, if you can achieve this goal, the effects it will have on you, on your life, all those who encounter you. And now I'm going to just read us through a relaxation meditation so that we have just an experience of relaxing our body and our mind. And this will take about 5 minutes. So to relax the body, first feel the top of your head and let a feeling of relaxation develop from the top of your head, traveling down through your forehead, the back of your head, your cheeks, your face, your eyes, your mouth, your skull, your brain. Let the feeling of relaxation penetrate every cell, every atom, every tiny particle of your head. Let it continue to travel down and relax your neck and throat like a warm bath of relaxation. The front of your neck, the back, and then into your shoulders. This relaxed, warm feeling flows into your shoulders, relaxing them while you're still alert, but your body's relaxing. Let it travel down the sides of your shoulders, down your back. Let your whole back, all the muscles in your back, become relaxed. All the way down between your shoulders, the back of your rib cage. Also the rest of your arms, down your biceps, your forearms, into your hands and fingers. Every cell relaxing. Now the front of your body. Let the relaxed feeling of warmth and positivity travel down the front of your body, your chest, your abdomen, your lungs, relaxing all the internal organs and muscles as well. The feeling travels down into the upper parts of your legs, your thighs, your buttocks, then your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, all the way down to your toes. Do your best to keep your body relaxed for the next several minutes, trying to let it stay in this relaxed state, and let your breathing be neutral. Breathe in and breathe out in a natural rhythm. Bring your mind to the positive reason again for doing this meditation, that it will be beneficial for you and others, bringing greater harmony inside and outside. Now focus all of your attention, your awareness on your breath. You can focus either on the sensation of air coming in and out of your nostrils, or the sensation of your abdomen rising and falling with each breath. So just pick one. And anytime your mind wanders away from this sensation, just gently bring it back without scolding or worry. Just notice, oh, my mind has moved, let me bring it back. Some people find it helpful to count the breath, to watch each full breath, each inhalation and exhalation, and count each breath as one. Breathing in, one. Breathing out, one. So you can do that up to 5 or 10. This way you're trying to train your mind to come back. When it wanders, bring it back and know it's like lifting a weight. You've just built more muscle to notice it. So now we'll do this for the next 5 minutes. Okay, and slowly come back and open your eyes. So how did that go for people? It's at the end of the day, so sometimes it's hard to be alert on a Monday. Let's talk about obstacles to meditation, because there's a part of our mind that wants to be out there doing stuff and solving problems or getting stuff done and not doing this. So usually, there's two main obstacles. One is sleepiness, and one is busyness or inner noise. Anybody in the sleepy camp? No? Okay, yeah, that was a huge one for me. Just one other person? I've only got one other sleepy. Wow, that's amazing, y'all. What? Too sleepy to respond. That's probably true. So I had really, really, really struggled with that for a long, long time. And one day I just decided to stand up. This is just me talking. There's nobody that's right. Hey, this is what you should do. But I just wanted to, because I work as a mediator, and a lot of times people are having a lot of problems, and we're trying to figure out how to have some positive experiences. And I had to really think about what helps people change, what helps people have positive experiences. Guaranteed success is what helps. Because if I was learning to play the piano, I would need to start with the scales and just really feel pretty good about that. Same thing with meditation. You want to have some positive experience so you don't just get frustrated or give up. So I stood up for 5 minutes and was able to do a 5-minute meditation standing up. That helped me. That helped change things for me. And there's other things. You want to make sure that you don't push yourself too hard or go too long and feel like you never want to do it again. Like, you may not think that you never want to do it again, but when you see that cushion, you'll be like, ugh, I don't want to do that. Some part of you will be really resisting it. So it's actually, they say, better, especially when you're trying some of these other techniques, to quit on a high note. And sometimes I'll even tell myself that when I'm trying to do this focused meditation or I'm visualizing something and I can feel myself getting sleepy, and I'll say, okay, but you can stop as soon as you really, really see that object in your mind's eye. And then it gets like crystal clear. So you want to stop on a high note, and just build on that, and know that, and be patient with yourself, because it's going to come and go. So then the other obstacle typically is your thoughts are just running rampant. How many people are in that camp? Yeah, okay. So that's really, it's like you first get to see the nature of what's going on with your mind. Sometimes we don't think our mind is actually that busy until we sit down and close our eyes and try to meditate, and then it's just like chaos. It's like, well, I'm not usually thinking all these things. Well, that's because we're doing so many things at once, we don't maybe notice the busy nature of our mind, and that mind is encouraged a lot, So there's also other tricks for that, and that's kind of what we're going to be exploring throughout this. Anybody have any that they want to share? Any tricks of the trade? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please. Okay. It's another obstacle. Okay, yeah.
So every time at the top of my breath, my left shoulder, it felt like an ant was biting me.
Oh, wow.
And there's nothing in my shirt. I checked as soon as we finished, but so I would try as hard as I could to think about my nostril.
Wow.
So I guess I was multitasking, but I kind of ruminated a little bit, but I didn't really have time to because of my itching shoulder.
Yeah. Wow. Anybody else have any experience like that? It's like kind of like yeah. Counting distracts you. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
And so when you're counting, then are you really like thinking 1, 2? Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you had.
I was going to say the biggest challenge for me was kind of my body itself. As I noticed little things about it, as I try to settle into it, like my mouth was filling up with saliva because my tongue is in a weird spot, and but breaking through that and just focusing on the word breath itself kind of helped.
Interesting, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to also second the like body distractions. Like I'm currently like my sinuses are a little bit stuffed up, so I'm trying to focus on my breathing, and I'm like I can't breathe. My nose is stuffed, or like my face has pressure, which
Yeah.
I didn't expect. Like, but like the body was like the distraction.
Right, right, and because you can kind of overlook some of that when you're doing other things, like you're not noticing that your mouth feels dry or your sinuses are clogged, or, yeah.
I would love feedback if you have any, but I have a lot of physical pain. I have a lot of medical issues and a broken bone in my spine, so it's
Ouch.
incredibly difficult for me to just sit in one spot
Yeah.
without moving for a long time. So I have to like constantly adjust, or I'll just like be not adjusting and then thinking about the pain. And so I don't know if you have any suggestions on that.
Is there any position that is comfortable, like when you're laying down, or?
I can find like any position might be comfortable for a few minutes, but then I have to readjust.
Uh-huh,
So,
yeah,
But if I were to lay down, I've tried laying down meditations, but I will end up falling asleep if I do that. So, yeah, I do walking meditation sometimes, but yeah, sitting, I just have to constantly readjust.
yeah. Yeah, well, I would, yeah, definitely go with what your body's saying, so that, maybe then you would break it into those, whatever it is, 2-minute chunks or something, to see, so that you can have that success while you're comfortable, I think there's lots of things we can do to make it, to adjust to whatever's going on for our body, like that, especially, with the broken hip, you said?
It's a bone, it's in the back of my spine.
Yeah, ouch, yeah. Yeah, and it's actually probably pretty good practice because, at some point, we're going to be prone in our bed at different points and we can still meditate, But yeah, falling asleep it would be very conducive to falling asleep. So anything like the most comfortable place that you are, like if your car seat is the most comfortable place, then sit there for a few minutes and meditate. Wherever you can be in the most comfortable time of day and place, and see if that works. And then just also not being hard on yourself, because remembering that it's about familiarizing yourself with something. And so the focus meditation is as long as the periods that you can do it comfortably, so that you're not hurting your body, Yeah, because they're so linked.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and about the shoulder thing, I'd be curious to keep watching that, because this is everything that people are noticing. It's really about you're getting to know yourself. You're getting to know your mind and your body, and so sometimes our body will trick us. So there's some part of us that doesn't really want. It's like some part of us is the busy part, right? Is trying to get us off this cushion and get us to do other things. And sometimes, this is just me again talking, I will thank that part first. Thank you, because you get me through the day, you get stuff done, I get paid for getting stuff done, and, you're, like when I can't fall asleep at night, my mind is like, I'm like, yeah, thank you. I know that you want to get up and get all this stuff done. Thank you, I really appreciate you. Now, can you just give me like a little bit of a break so I can hear the other part, the sleepy part, when I'm trying to go to sleep? Or, and make a deal with it. This is just me talking. This is what's worked for me. That's my tips and trades. Because I don't want to be hard on it. It's also trying to help me. And so I thank it, all right. And talking to our body. I know I may have ignored you all day long. I promise that I'm going to look into that. I'm going to blow my nose in a minute, or whatever it is. And then there's other things that might help. Do you have any, Linda?
The only one that came to mind was the saliva thing was something with me when I first started meditating. And so that's something I've worked with a lot. And so the best way I can describe it is to put the front part of your tongue on right behind the top upper teeth, but it's not just on the teeth, it's also on the upper palate. And then just relax the jaw. So my teeth aren't touching, my jaw's relaxed enough that the top and bottom aren't touching, and then I can settle into that. And that has worked. I finally found the right spot.
That's why it's really helpful to talk to other people, to find out what's worked for them. I know with my sleepiness, the other thing that worked is to sit, I would sit in this one room where when the sun was rising and the sun right on my face kept me alert. And then I read that sometimes just visualizing that will help you. And then in focus meditation, you can certainly use your breath. You can also take an object that so I have a photo of the Dalai Lama that I use, and I've used it for umpteen years. Other people, trying to find something a virtuous object. Other people will take a Buddha statue or a tanka, and you memorize it inside out, and then you try to see it as crystal clear as if your eyes were open. It's really hard, but it's instant feedback on your mind wandering. And there's all these stages of getting the object clear that are written about in this kind of meditation. And so then you can put all of your attention on noticing that part of your mind moving. Just like you can put all of your attention on your breath or all of your attention on your distractions or what's going on in your body. The point is to get the mind to do that. And even if I can see the object clearly for even just like 5 seconds, I'm thrilled. The rest of the time it's kind of moving, it's wavering, it looks like this. I'm telling stories about it. But eventually my mind, and when my mind focuses right on it, this is the whole point, is it just, it's very hard to describe, but it's this amazing feeling. It's like waking up and knowing you're dreaming. Like in the dream, everything then becomes crystal clear. That's what it's like. It's like, whoa. And then for the rest of the day, I feel incredibly relaxed. It carries over. So that's the point, is for you to develop these other states and not for it to be such a struggle. But it takes encouragement and practice. The other thing that helps, and this is why people do it, is to create some kind of ritual or space or time, something that will help you. So, you might have a favorite place at your job, or you might have made some corner of your room, your house or your room really nice for yourself or whatever, or you come back from a vacation and you put out those photographs or you have them on your phone. It's all the same thing, something that kind of gets you going. We all have places in our lives where we do that. So the same thing is true for meditation. And again, if it's a positive thing, you do some kind of ritual first, you have an altar, you call to mind your motivation, then it's going to be easier to do that elsewhere. So I'm a writer, so a creative writer, I mess around with that. So you hear writers always asking each other, well, where do you write? I have this ritual, I have this desk, I have this pen, I have this. Or then when you get to a certain place, like I can write anywhere as long as I have this, or da-da-da. Same thing is true for meditation. So it may be really hard to carve out that time of day. How many people find that to be the biggest challenge, the time? Yeah. I was thinking today, like, I get in my car and I get some lunch and I sit in this is left over from the pandemic. I've learned to create this really nice environment in my car to eat lunch. It's like I'm in my own little restaurant, and I have everything balanced and I really love it. My chair is great. So you could meditate there. You could go in your car and sit in your car and meditate for 5 minutes, probably sometime throughout the day. So there's that. If you're practicing focused meditation, where can you carve out 5 minutes to do that? A time when you're going to have some success. When are you going to have more success? Is it going to be in the morning when you first wake up, or is that the worst time? Is it better at lunch? When is the best time that you can carve out 5 minutes? Try to find that place and see if you can do it at least half of this week. How many days a week can you do 5 minutes, or maybe make it 10 minutes? But you want to do it so that you're ending on some success, ending on some kind of success. The other thing that I think with practice you'd probably be able to do easier than you think, and we'll try this in a minute, is as you're counting your breath, or as you're just noticing your breath, what you're also trying to notice is you're trying to slow your thoughts down. They're going to rise up just like your breath, just like waves on an ocean. So if you can imagine this, imagine your mind is like a spotlight. It's like, oh, there comes a thought, and you see it rising up. And instead of following it, you're just like, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch my shoulder. I'm going to watch whatever. I'm going to watch this. And it's like, there's a thought. And 9 times out of 10, what you'll see with practice is it'll then just settle back into the ocean. And now the point is to expand that space between those waves. You know another one's coming, that's okay. So, but like, there's this space. Just like as you breathe, there's going to be a space at the top and the bottom of your breath. If you start to notice that, the same thing is true with your thoughts. Oh, here comes a thought. Oh, there it goes back down. Oh, here comes a thought. And there it goes back down. Oh, there was a thought and I followed it for 10 minutes or whatever. Oh, I'm going to reel it back in. Let me start over. And if that might help. That's kind of what we're moving towards. If you can try to just have that as a goal for the week, to see if you can even notice 1 or 2 of those kind of rising up and then settling back down. So the other thing the other obstacle sometimes is outer noise. So like when the heat came on, I thought there was a storm outside. I was like, oh my God, there's a storm. But I read this interesting thought about the outer noise. There's inner and outer noise. When we had to study for something in college or wherever we were studying or whatever we're doing, we're pretty good at like tuning all that out. I mean, if there's some deadline, right? I work best with a deadline. We're pretty good at doing that out. So why is it harder to do it when we're meditating? They say that we should meditate with the kind of alertness as if there was a snake in the room. Definitely get our attention. But it's that kind of like, okay, I'm awake, I'm alert. And what is it that you can do that brings that alertness to mind? Whatever it is, try to deploy it for those 5 minutes. You can create some kind of like, okay, I got to do this for this reason, just to get yourself into that alert state of mind without being stressed out. Just the way you would do if there were finals and you had 1 hour left to study. The inner noise is a little trickier, but that's what we've been talking about. How to, thank that part of you that wants to just be in charge and take over. The other thing, I think it's really about knowing yourself, that meditation is a lot about, learning and knowing yourself, that good and bad mind states, we know the extremes pretty easily. We can differentiate those extremes pretty easily. But I think it's harder to disentangle some of the ones that are a little slipperier. So, for example, I said I'm a mediator, and when I train mediators, we talk about the hard style of negotiating and the soft style. And the hard style needs to be right. It needs to be heard. It's most important that they're heard and that they're right about something. The soft style, what's most important is harmony. And so they will often capitulate in a mediation because they want everything to be more peaceful. That may look really nice, especially if a mediator wants an agreement. Like, oh, great, this person's very agreeable. It might not be so good because you don't know what they want. You know what the hard negotiator wants, and the mediator can be tricked into thinking there's an agreement here, when actually it's what you're dealing with is somebody who doesn't even know what they want, and the whole thing's going to fall apart as soon as they leave your office. So I'm just bringing that up to say that sometimes what seems positive and negative isn't as easy to distinguish, but for yourself, meditation will help your own self-awareness. For you to get down deeper into what's going on for you, what's happening for you, what are the motivations for this, that, or the other. All right, that was something I wanted to bring up earlier. So let's, y'all want one more meditation? I know you're just chomping at the bit. It'll be short. And again, it's just going to be on counting the breath, focus meditation, and trying to see if you can play a little bit with that idea of like watching your thoughts. And yeah, if the count gets in the way, then just watch your thoughts. See if you can just think of your mind as like an ocean and you want it to be, still. But the reason some people count their thoughts or even just the sensation of breathing is that's tying your mind to something because it wants to wander. All right. So again, check your posture. Check all those different points, the 7 points of the posture. And refresh your motivation for engaging in this. And once you have your motivation and whatever it is that will keep you alert, and I will gently bring you out of that meditation in 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, and slowly open your eyes. Any differences or questions or thoughts or challenges? Yeah.
So I have a question about like the visualizing. So I just did something silly. I don't have something that's like virtuous that I could picture off the top of my head. So I was like, I just kind of want to challenge myself. So I was trying to visualize my car. Like I'm trying to think of what my car looks like. And I feel like I have it for like a split second where it's just like the memory of what it looks like.
Yeah.
But that's like all I get. And I could picture memories of it, but that's like, I can't even get it to waver. Like it's there for a second and then it's gone. Is that kind of like a normal like beginning experience?
Yeah.
Kind of, okay.
Yeah. It's good that you could see it at all.
It took a second and then I was like, oh wait, I think I saw it. Okay,
Right.
cool.
And you're in it a lot, right?
Yeah. I walk out of my house every single day and I see it.
Right.
I know what that image looks like, but getting it to stay was like a lot harder than I was expecting.
Right. Yeah. And so then pick one, we can talk about this more, but I'll bring in the photo I use. And, I can, when my eyes are open and I look at it, it looks like, it's like, whoa, okay, I can definitely do this because it looks so great and it looks so real and I can imagine him actually talking, And then I close my eyes and my mind does all kinds of things. And that's, we should actually kind of celebrate that. We're seeing our mind, what our mind does. And with practice and encouragement, it will become more focused. So the effort does pay off. And what we'll do next is take some of the focus that we're building and apply it to different topics and different analytical meditation so that we can see the two different kinds of meditation and what the point is. And think about ways to encourage that part of you that got yourself here and that's trying and that's, really giving it a good shot. Really find ways to take care of that part and nurture it. Like what can you do for that part of you that wants to do it? Does that make sense? Like, we've talked about some of the, setting up a time and a place and everything, but also what can you do to reward that part of you and to encourage it? And then also, this is your homework too. So in addition to like trying to find little 5-minute pockets, more if you can, but at least 5-minute pockets throughout the week to try this focused meditation. Then also, since we're talking about meditation as being something that, is more than just sitting there counting your breath, it's also what we familiarize ourselves with. Notice other opportunities throughout the week that you can change your mind. We talk about, I love this thing, I think Thich Nhat Hanh said it, that people come to him and say, oh, I want to stop the world and I want to do all these things with my mind. And he's like, what about changing your mood? Could you ever change your mood? Like that would be revolutionary if you're in. That is hard to be all in this one mood and try to change that, try to transform that. So think about where you are, like traffic is always an easy one, where you have this mental tape running. That's a meditation of like, oh my God, I can't believe so many people have moved here since 2020 and now look at all this traffic and people are driving like New Yorkers and whatever's going on in your head, right? I'm speaking for myself. And then like, how can I interrupt that? It's not even like I tried to launch it. It's just gone. And so what can I do to do what can I place over that? What's another meditation I could do? And there's tons. I could start to think of all these people in the cars and their lives and their problems and how I'm connected to them. And, my drive then, or like say, I've got a long drive and there's traffic. Okay, now I can be really upset and get all worked up, or I could actually just listen to something on the radio or, those kinds of things. So what can you do? What are your meditation throughout the day that you'd like to change? And how can you do that? So that's a big part of Buddhism, all kinds of things. Yeah.
Someone on Zoom says, something that helps my practice are noise-canceling headphones. They're getting better and better and more affordable. I use them all the time, and they really help. with outside noise,
Okay,
outside noises, yeah.
okay, yeah, especially if you're in a noisy environment, yeah.
I have one comment, maybe a question and a question. So, you saying your level of alertness should be like there's a snake in the room stood out to me, because when I'm meditating, I'm often thinking of calming my nervous system, right?
Yeah.
Let me really slow my heart rate, let me really slow down my breath.
Right.
So that's challenging. I'm thinking of like how to get myself to a calm place.
Right.
Not necessarily the word alert. Which, yeah, so I guess that's just my comment, but I would like to kind of have you elaborate on that. And then
Yeah.
my question also, so I don't know if other people do this, but I'm like a Dan Harris 10% Happier fan. So I have their app, and they have a lot of guided meditations that I do. So outside of this, which I guess it's also kind of guided, I'm mainly doing that, not just by myself. So I was wondering if like Buddhism has a stance on a guided versus an on your own.
What is
one
it
is
guiding towards? Like, what is it? Like relaxation kind of thing?
Yeah, like some of them are on sleep, or some of them are on anxiety, or just like being
Yeah.
kind, and it's slow.
Right. I would think technically that would fall under the analytical meditation, because it's putting your focus on something. Yeah. And and don't just use the things that work. So like, I think a snake in the room would help if you were falling asleep. But you wouldn't work if what you're wanting to do is calm your nervous system down. I think the other reason that was mentioned by somebody is a lot of people who like mountain climb, or rock climb, whatever, they talk about being in this meditative state when they climb. Well, because they could die if they don't. But they like it because it forces that alertness. It's a single-pointed concentration, and they feel good, And so that single-pointed concentration that we're aiming to do in the comfort here can bring that same goodness that they're talking about, that same alertness. So whatever helps get to that. But first, you need to be, and also when they're climbing rocks and stuff like that, or when they're in a zone, like when you're playing basketball and you're in a zone, there is a calmness to it. Everything else fades away, and it's just you and that mountain or the basketball, whatever. So I think that's the ultimate, how do you get there, is different. But also we function in the world in so many different ways. We need to be able to bring our mind to what we want in order to like it, so that we have these more positive mind states, so that I can catch it earlier, Yeah. Thanks for that question. That was very helpful. Yeah. I'll repeat it. Yeah.
I just had this really interesting experience of like I almost visualized everybody's heads, and like almost felt that noise kind of echoing off of everybody's minds as we were all kind of
Interesting.
trying to do the same thing and kind of be quiet.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I think noises like that sometimes, so they're going to interrupt but you can also just focus then on them. Focus on like, what does it feel like in my body to, hear this train rushing by? We can use it. You can use everything. And anybody, that's what I'm trying to say, is like, if you're focusing then on that sensation of all this sound coming in your ears, you can also focus on, okay, my mind is wandering. Well, let me focus on it. Let me watch my mind. And then that tends to also just kind of settle it down a little bit sometimes. So experimenting with that. So now we're going to end with the dedication. So we're going to, I'm sorry, I forgot to do the others. Linda's going to point out where this is, and it's this prayer written by Shantideva. And the point of, we're trying to align our minds with these words to increase our own inner generosity. Okay.
So you should have a gold prayer book at your seat. So it's page 32 in that gold prayer book. And for those of you online, I'll share my screen. Hang on one second.
And so what we're doing when we say this prayer is, we're taking, again, you're coming to this class, you're participating, you're contributing, your efforts to meditate all create something, right? And so we're calling that merit. It creates some result. And now dedicating it is sending that, where do you want all of this merit to be deposited? Where do you want it to grow? Okay.
Do you want me to lead it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, again, the dedication verses from Master Shantideva. And this was written, I just like to say this, sorry, Steve.
Yeah.
Like in the 8th century. And it is so incredibly still relevant today. It's amazing. Okay, so you can say it with me, or if you prefer to just listen, feel free. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvest. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may these never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world.
Thank you, everybody, for your incredible energy, and I'll see you all next week.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone online and in the Kadampa. Thanks for coming out
Yeah.
tonight.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.